Today, we're talking about Shining Vale, Season 2, Episode 1. But first, we have to quickly mention Season 1 was mainly about Pat, who's a famous writer. Pat and her family moved from the city to a small town because Pat cheated on her husband. The house they moved into was, well, haunted, and Pat gets possessed by Rosemary. When Rosemary enters Pat's body, she does things like have sex with her husband, makes Pat write a book about her past life, so now Pat is writing a book about Rosemary's life. And the season ends when she makes Pat hit her husband in the head with an axe. Pat then gets admitted into an insane asylum by her daughter, Gaynor, just like Pat had to do with her mom. Now, in Season 2, Episode 1, we see the aftermath of her hitting her husband in the head with an axe. We get these really quick scenes to show us how much the house is a mess since Pat has been locked away. They have all these notices on the door, no one's cleaned anything, and Gaynor is feeding Roxy the edges of a PB&J. Poor dog probably constipated. We see Terry in rehab since he got hit in the head with an axe. We see him trying to get his memory back by looking at these pictures, and when the doctor puts up a picture that's supposed to remind him of his wife, he gets terrified and looks like he's about to cry. And we get this really quick scene of Pat in the psychiatric hospital. And while we're seeing all of this, Gaynor is singing a song in the background about how her mom hit her dad in the head with an axe to some people in what looks like to be a bookstore, but they're not even paying her attention. They're putting gum in her tip jar. We see Pat going through shock therapy, and for some reason, Rosemary, the ghost, is there, and she's the one giving her the shock therapy. So what's going on? Is this a dream or what? Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Terry is back home from therapy, and he is having a hard time trying to get around with this walker. And this man is scared of his own dog, but I don't blame him. Look at it. The dog look crazy. The dog looks like his mama, Pat, when she got out the psychiatric hospital. Gaynor told him, "You love Roxy." He said, "Why?" He came back from getting hit in the head to being like, "I don't even like dogs." His awkward son, Jake, comes down to say hi to him, and they have an awkward exchange. But what can you really expect from Jake? I don't know why, but Terry was about to cry. Gaynor tells Terry, "Come on, let's go upstairs." And once Terry looks at those stairs, he gets a bad feeling. He was like, I'm not going up there. I think eventually Terry is going to start remembering things and remembers that it was his wife who made him fall down them stairs because, he lost his memory. Pat is talking to the doctor, and she's trying to get up out of there and go home. But they were only in there 5 seconds, and the doctor had already circled all of these words on the paper, so the doctor is in there cheating. She's asked, what did she eat for breakfast? And Pat said oatmeal. The doctor's like, no, you had grapefruit. Then puts a rejected stamp on Pat's paper, meaning she cannot go home. Pat's like, stop playing, let me go home. You cannot keep me in here just because I can't remember what I ate for breakfast. The doctor tells her the reason why she can't remember anything is because she's been having shock therapy, then looks into Pat's file and sees that she's had shock therapy 66 times. They trying to fry her brain up. The doctor was even shocked by that. She wasn't expecting that. Pat's telling her, come on, let me go. I've been in here 4 months. That's enough. I don't smoke. I don't drink. I don't curse. I'm rehabilitated. I'm not possessed by Rosemary anymore, so I can go home. The doctor tells her, well, ideally, you'll be in here for 3 years, but I can only keep you until your insurance runs out, which turned out to be in 2 days. So Pat was able to be released and go home in 2 days because her insurance had ran out. Pat's mom goes to pick her up from the insane asylum, and that's familiar territory to her because she was in there before too. Pat had to admit her. As they're checking out, Pat's mom is saying things like, Why were you only in here for 4 months when I was in here for all these years? They're only giving you 600 milligrams of lithium when they gave me 900 milligrams. So she's just trying to up her, and Pat is just telling her, well, you have better insurance than I do. When Pat gets released, she goes home and she instantly adds to the mess on the floor by putting her shirt down there too. And she gets greeted by Roxy. She's the only one that comes out to say hi to her. While she's saying hi to Roxy, the door opens up. The same door that was opening up in season 1 has now opened up again. Pat is just trying to ignore it this time by saying what she learned in the hospital, which is, I am in control. Jake eventually comes down in this mascot uniform, and Pat is surprised to hear that Jake has friends. Not friend, friends with an S on the end, plural. Because when she left 4 months ago, he only had one friend. She's also surprised to find out that he's not a virgin anymore, supposedly, but I don't believe that. I think he over there lying. After whatever that was with Jake, him and his little friends go off to play with his droid. Once they leave, Pat turns around and sees someone else dressed up in a costume, and she's thinking it's one of Jake's friends, but it's not. This thing is creepy, is dirty, and this is definitely not one of Jake's friends. This thing, whatever it is right here, is going to be a problem for Pat. Let me know what y'all think this is or who it is. Look at these dishes piled up in the sink like that. Gainer, get over here and wash them dishes. Them dishes been piled up for 4 months. And she got the audacity to keep an attitude. She stayed with one. And she over there adding to it. Look at her over there adding to it. I was surprised when she gave her mama a hug. But you already know that didn't last long because they started bickering again. When Pat says, I forgive you for putting me into the asylum, then Gaynor starts talking about, I had to clean up your mess for 4 months. But she wasn't cleaning up them dishes though. Pat sees her husband for the first time since being released, and she is relieved that he has lost his memory and that he doesn't remember that she hit him upside the head with an axe and he fell down the stairs, and that's the reason why he cannot remember anything. He tells her that all he remembers is that she's a writer, that she's funny, and that she had to go to the hospital because she was sad when he fell down the stairs. Okay, keep telling yourself that. He's telling her he's trying to remember more things by looking at pictures from his phone. He shows her pictures of herself, Gaynor, Jake, and Roxy. Then the picture of the guy that Pat cheated on him with that he doesn't know about pops up. But Pat did not want to sleep with this man. Rosemary possessed her and made her do it. Doesn't that sound crazy? But that's when Pat takes the phone away from him and tells him that's your cousin and he died. Let's delete this picture. Pat tells him that he was the best husband and promises him that she's going to be a better wife and she's going to start by cleaning the house up. Terry tells her, relax, take a minute for yourself first. And she's like, okay, yeah, I'll take a minute. The girl done took 780 minutes. And the only reason why she woke up is because of Jake's droid. Jake was flying a droid in the house, and as he was doing so, a voice started talking to him, and that's what woke Pat up. Whatever's going on with this voice is gonna be trouble. So after Pat wakes up, she reads the note that Terry stuck on her head, and it said, it was nice seeing you, and he's going out with Gaynor, who he now calls Button since he done got hit in the head. I'll see you later. And it's nothing but scribble. He can't even write anymore. She did a number on him. Poor Terry can't even write no more. She starts cleaning the house until she sees Gaynor is about to head out. She's like, no, I'll take you guys to school. And that's when she finds out that Gaynor dropped out of school and had been dropped out for 4 months since she's been in the asylum. She said she was taking care of the family, but what was she taking care of? Because the house is a mess. So they start bickering yet again, and then here comes Terry, not able to walk with his walker. He is having a hard time, okay? The three of them, Gaynor, Jake, and Terry, leave the house. They leave Pat there, and that's when Gaynor drops Jake off at school, and she tells her dad to wait in the car because she's going to work. So you want him to wait in the car for about, what, 8 hours or so? How long is your shift? You expect him to sit in the car? He's like, no, I made a shopping list, so I have to get out the car. This man's still over there trying to write. Ain't nothing but scribble. Somebody tell him that ain't nothing but scribble. Jake gets out the car and goes to school, while Gaynor gets out and goes to work. She leaves her dad in the car, but he gets out anyway. I already knew he wasn't about to stay in the car. He gets out, he gets his walker out. As soon as he gets his walker out the car, a bus runs it over. But that doesn't stop his shine. He gets someone to pick it up for him, and it's a miracle it wasn't destroyed. He sees a sign that says sundries and cigarettes, and he's like, I'm gonna go over there and see what that's about. Pat is doing the dishes and the sink gets clogged up. When she's trying to check it out, she pulls out what looks to be some black hair. And where did that come from? After that, Pat and Roxy go down to the basement where the bar is, and that's when Pat sees these footprints. She starts walking towards the footprints. Girl, now why you want to go and do that for? And as she's walking towards these footprints, she sees something sharp sticking out of the wall. And what does she do? She sticks out her finger and pokes herself with it. Then had the audacity to run and leave Roxy down there in the basement. I thought you said you loved Roxy and that you missed Roxy more than anybody else. Girl, no you don't. And you brought Roxy down there to the danger and then go leave her there. She didn't ask to go with you. She didn't say bring me down there with you. So she's trying to run up out of there. She gets to the front door, and when she opens the front door, her friend is standing there in her face. They both get scared and start yelling and screaming because Pat was just over there looking crazy. When her friend and editor, Cam, gets inside, they start talking about the book. And that's when Cam shows her the marketing idea that they have for her book. And Pat is not about this. She's like, y'all out here trying to make me look crazy. They have someone on the cover holding an axe and Pat on the back in a straitjacket. Pat doesn't have any say-so. She has to go along with this. And besides, they already paid her. I just find it funny how Pat put down a napkin before she sat down on Pat's chair. She knows just how dirty that house is. No shade. Pat goes over her mom's house to vent about how no one misses her, not even the dog. That's also when Pat finds out that her mom spent the advance money for her book to buy some sharks, when that money was supposed to go to Gaynor and Jake. She didn't even take care of them like she was supposed to when Pat was away. But when she's over there, her mom gives her some decent advice in the meantime and lets her know that mental illness never goes away. It's like glitter, and that it's going to take longer than 4 months for them all to miss you. She asked her mom if she can stay there with her for a while, and her mom told her no, and to go back home and get her family back. So that's what Pat did, and when she got home, she made meatloaf surprise, where there's supposed to be a surprise in the meatloaf. But Jake got mad when he could only find onions in the meatloaf. I don't know what he was looking for, some chocolate, a toy, or what. She told him, don't eat it then, greedy. Gaynor and Pat are take a wild guess, bickering again, when Gaynor tells Pat Terry wants to get out the car by himself, so let him do it. And Pat's insisting, no, I'll go help him. And Gaynor's like, no, you're not. He want to get out by himself. They're still going at it. Pat tells her that she's sorry and that she knows what she's going through because she had to put her mom in a psychiatric hospital too. And I had to drop out of college just like you had to drop out of high school. Gaynor's like, you're not telling me nothing new. Grandma already told me all this. Gaynor's telling her to leave and that no one wants her there. And Pat's telling her that she just wants this to go back to being a normal family. Gaynor's like, what are you talking about? We've never been a normal family. Terry finally manages to make it out of the car, standing there with his twisted up walker. It's sitting up sideways. And when he gets in the kitchen where everyone is at, he tells them, I've gotten to know you all over again. And Gaynor is right. You guys are not normal. We are amazing. And he remembers the saying that the family would say, which is, we are Phelps. He's like, you guys are amazing and we are Phelps. They all start chanting, we are Phelps. Everyone's excited, even the dog. And while they're in the kitchen, jumping up and down, the TV is flashing on and off. The doorbell rings and Pat goes to answer it. And it's wild that you answer the door, don't ask who it is or even look to see who it is. You just open it. So She goes to just open the door, and standing there with a pie in her hand is Rosemary, the ghost, the same one who possessed Pat. Pat immediately slams the door in her face. She knows she's about to be in for a time. She's just seeing herself back at that hospital. And that's pretty much the whole episode. Y'all let me know what y'all think about it down in the comments so we can talk about it. And if you haven't already and want to see more videos like this, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in my next one.